Good evening, ladies. We're moving on with our learning. In the last video, we spoke about how the obligation to follow Hashem, to worship Hashem, is something that we can understand logically, and it's also something that we're being given and told in the Torah. And it explains why we need also the proof from the Torah, or the Torah, to tell us to do it, even though it's something that is very easy to understand and it's very logical. And the reason was because of the power that this body has over the soul, and how, in a way, the position of the soul is a disadvantage. That we're in this materialistic world, we need something to support the soul in her journey towards the truth. And so we got to the conclusion that that it's the right thing to follow Hashem, or to worship Hashem. And what does it mean, really? So there are different parts to it, and there are different levels to it. But the most basic one is to, in a way, to surrender, to submit to Hashem, to accept Hashem's authority on us, because we know that He created the world and our life depends on Him. That's the most basic understanding that there is. And these are all very negative words, and these are the words that I know. But you know better words in English, and you can fill them in the sentence. In Hebrew we call it Yiras Hashem. Yiras Hashem is basically, in Hebrew it's very easy to understand, but in English I would translate it to two words, because really there are levels to it. So it would be worshiping Hashem out of fear, or worshiping Hashem out of awe, if you understand what I mean. When Hashem, if you know that there is a creator who created the entire world, and He did all of it just for us, just out of His love to us, so you're full of awe in front of the presence of Hashem. And He says that the fear, in a way, worshiping Hashem out of fear, is if you understand the obligation to worship Hashem out of learning the Torah. Because in the Torah it says, if you follow Hashem, you will be given this and that. And if you don't, you will be punished. So because a person doesn't want to be punished, he worships Hashem, and that's fear. You worship Hashem out of fear. And this is if you only take it from the level of the Torah. But if you get to it from the level of understanding, and from learning, and from expanding your horizons when it comes to the world and everything, and just understanding what is this creation, who is this creator, and you just come to the level of awe with the creator and wanting to be one with Hashem. So that's another level, and it's a higher level, and it's a level that you get to when learning yourself, when investigating, when questioning, and not just learning the Torah and taking it as granted. And so he says that there are a few advantages, that's getting long. He says that there are a few advantages to worshiping Hashem out of awe and not out of fear. The first one is the basic one, the most obvious one, because if you worship Hashem out of awe, out of fear, you only worship Hashem because you don't want to be punished. You don't want to die. So you don't want to be punished in this world or the next world, and so you worship Hashem. But if you worship Hashem out of awe, really your motivation is not fear, it's not the fear of punishment, but it's the will, or the desire to be one with Hashem, and that's a much, much higher level. The second reason is that when you worship Hashem out of fear, most of the things, worshiping Hashem, most of it, it's what you do with your body. All of the different mitzvot in the Torah, 613 mitzvot, you practice the mitzvot and you can see them. That's the thing. This is what you do with your body, and it's more on your organs. In a way, it's more done by your body than it is deeper into your heart. And most of it, it's really on the outside. But if you worship Hashem out of awe, really out of the desire to be one with Hashem, out of understanding who is Hashem, so it's mostly in your heart. And yes, you do all 613 mitzvot and you do everything. But that's just a small way of presenting it to the outside. But really the big thing is inside. It's deeper. It's planted deeper inside you. Another reason is because if you worship Hashem out of fear, then you're limited, because it's not easy to do the Torah, but the Torah itself, the obligations of mitzvot, they're limited. We have 613, much less, because each individual, we don't have Bet HaMikdash, so we don't bring offerings. If you're a girl, then you have different mitzvot than men, and so on and so forth. So you don't really have 613 even. Then you're limited with the amount of things you can do to be closer to Hashem. But if you worship Hashem out of awe, and really it's inside your heart, so it's endless. You can always grow higher and higher and higher in faith, in understanding Hashem, in knowing Hashem, in understanding creation. You can grow so much more in love to Hashem. You can just grow and grow and grow, and you're not limited. And another reason is that when you worship Hashem out of fear, then doing the Torah is something that we're capable of doing. It's something that you're capable of to do. But growing higher and higher in levels of understanding Hashem and loving Hashem, this is out of your hands already, because it's endless. You can just grow and grow and grow and grow to endless levels. So this actually requires a gift from Hashem. So this Avodat Hashem is not something that is basically just relies on you, on your shoulders, and your abilities. This is something that is being given by Hashem, and that's a higher level of connection to Hashem. And another thing is, if you worship Hashem out of fear, then it's much harder, because it's not so much in your heart as it is more on what you do. And then you always have to face challenges. We have cravings, and we have bad desires, or like things that we want and we shouldn't really want. And you always have to face them. You always have to be challenged by them. But if it's really in your heart, if your desire to be one with Hashem is in your heart, if you're worshiping Hashem out of awe and out of a will to be one with Hashem and to love Hashem and so on and so forth, then you really purify your heart. So from the very beginning, you're not so much attracted to bad things. Then you're much less challenged, and you have much less chances of failing and doing bad things. And that's it. The change itself is something more, it's deeper inside you, and it will bring you to much higher levels. And that is it. That's a very long video. I hope that tomorrow's will be shorter. Good night, everyone. Bye.